Ruthless Compassion is a podcast about how you can turn your emotional shit into fertilizer for success and see your darkest moments as opportunities to transform into a powerful kindness warrior. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a review wherever you listen. Hi, this is Dr. Marcia Sirota. I wanted to talk about love today. That's a topic that a lot of people have on their mind, but I want to talk about a specific kind of love. I want to talk about the love we have for our fellow human beings, for one another, because I think that's in short supply these days. I think that these days so many people are very, very adamant about their personal rights and freedoms, but what they're not thinking about is the welfare of their community. And I think that leads to a very dangerous precedent, because the more we are self-centered and focused only on our own rights and freedoms, the less we are thinking about the health and welfare of our community and how we are all interconnected and interdependent. Truly, we are all one, and everything that each individual does has an effect on the other person. And we need to seriously think about the way our behavior affects each other, because if we don't, our society can start to deteriorate and really everything can break down. You know, right now we're having these massive protests across Canada. All these truckers have moved into the capital and they are protesting, not wanting to get vaccinated, and they're talking about their rights and freedoms, but they're not considering the rights and the freedoms of people whose lives are being disrupted by these protests. They're not thinking about the rights and freedoms of people who are going to be infected by COVID if they refuse to be vaccinated. They're very much thinking about themselves and not thinking about their community. They're not thinking about other people. And the more we focus on ourselves, the more we are selfish and self-centered and self-focused, the more our community risks deteriorating and breaking down. So I wanted to talk about love today because I think that's the solution. When we feel love for one another, when we think about the way our behavior, our actions have an effect on others, then our community thrives, and then we thrive as well. Because, like I said, we're all interdependent, so when we are giving love and kindness to others, then everyone around us is doing well, and then they in turn give love and show kindness to us. So love is really the answer for so many of the difficulties of our community, because when we feel love, we are prepared to do things that maybe we wouldn't do if we were being self-centered and self-focused. When we love one another, we think about the way our behaviors affect each other, and we are willing to bend and be flexible and do things that maybe we wouldn't want to do necessarily, but we're going to do because it's helpful and kind to others. And then in turn, other people are going to think about our welfare and do things that are loving and kind for us. So we're going to be much more willing to compromise. We're going to be willing to communicate. We're going to be willing to look at each other's differences and points of views and come to some kind of agreement or agree to disagree. Because when we love one another, we are more open to one another. Right now, there's so much selfishness and self-centeredness and us and theming and polarization. There's so much, you are the enemy, I'm the right one, you're the wrong one going on. And it's really making things so painful and so difficult for everyone. And it's not benefiting anyone. If we could open our hearts and start to love one another and see that we are not that different. A lot of these people who are being selfish are coming from a place of fear, because when we feel fear, we regress and we become more like a child, and children are fundamentally narcissistic. Children are fundamentally self-centered because they are still not able to see beyond themselves. They are only focused on themselves. So when people get scared as adults, when they feel confused or overwhelmed, they regress and they become more childlike, more self-centered and more self-focused. But, with a child, it's cute. With an adult, it's harmful to be that selfish because we are not thinking about the way our behavior is affecting everyone around us. So we need to deal with our fears. We need to inform ourselves accurately about what's really going on. We need to trust science and trust facts and not go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and crazy ideas that have no basis in fact that we read on the internet, which is really the repository of misinformation and lies. We need to get the facts from reliable, reputable sources, and that can help to allay our fears. And then we can start to open our hearts and feel more love for one another. It's hard to open our hearts when we're afraid, but that is the way that we're going to heal, and that is the way that our society is going to heal. And that's the way we're going to all come together and work toward a common goal of everyone doing better. When we are selfish and fearful, we become more greedy, we become more insular, and we lose our empathy for one another, which makes us capable of causing harm. But when we open our hearts, we are more generous, we are more altruistic, we are more thoughtful and caring, we are more prone to acts of kindness, and we feel that sense of belonging and connection, which gives us inner peace. The more we open our hearts and feel love, the more our fear will go away because we feel supported by our loving community. The more we are selfish and self-centered, the more alienated and alone and afraid we feel. So fear fosters loneliness, and then loneliness fosters more fear, whereas love fosters connectedness, and connectedness fosters more love. So we need to focus on love in 2022. It might be an old-fashioned concept, it might be relegated to romantic love, but I'm really talking about human love, love for one another, and kindness, being there for one another, because that is how we will heal our own hearts, heal our own pain, alleviate our own fears, and build a society that is constructive and productive and helps everyone succeed, rather than a society that's full of divisions and polarizations and anger and fighting, and really makes it difficult for anyone to get ahead. This is Dr. Marcia Sirota. Thank you for listening. Please leave a review and your comments wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to sign up for my free newsletter at marciasirotamd.com, where you'll learn about upcoming online events as well. Also, we love getting referrals from our listeners about future podcast guests. So please email us at info@marciasirotamd.com.